Welcome, everyone. Come in, come in. Are you ready for this trip? I've just finished my assignment, and soon, as I email it to my boss, we can go to the airport. Sam and Anna have found some new clues in the ancient city of Jericho. I'm excited to join them. There, I'm done. Now, let's go to Jericho.
Hey, glad you made it.
Welcome, David. We found some amazing things in this place.
You know the story of Jericho, right?
Yes, of course. How can I forget how its walls fell down when the people of Israel shouted after marching around it 7 times?
That's right. But did you know that not all the walls collapsed?
Yes, I've heard that a portion remained standing. Is that true?
Yes, archaeologists have found that all the walls collapsed, except a small portion on the northern side of the city. And there were houses built right up against that wall.
And in one of those houses lived Rahab. You remember that Joshua sent 2 spies into Jericho, right? Well, Rahab hid them from the king's guards and then helped them escape. In return, she asked the spies to spare her life. They told her that whoever was in her house when they attacked Jericho would be saved alive, but she needed to hang a red cord from her window.
Amazing! Just as the blood of the lamb on the doorposts protected the Israelites from the angel in Egypt, this red cord protected Rahab and her family.
Yes, but there's more. Before the battle, Joshua went out alone to pray for guidance. When he opened his eyes, he saw a man standing nearby with a sharp sword in his hand. Joshua asked if the man was a friend or an enemy, but the man said that he was the captain of the Lord's host. At that moment, Joshua bowed down and worshipped him because he knew this man was not an angel.
You mean it was Michael, the archangel? Because his name means equal to God.
Exactly. The archangel Michael is Jesus. He is the general against whom Satan fought in heaven, and according to the book of Daniel, it is Michael who stands up to defend God's people. At the second coming, Jesus will speak with the authority of a victorious captain, and it is his voice, the voice of the archangel, that resurrects all who have died in him.
But I don't understand the clue here.
You see, the war in heaven wasn't completely over. Sin still had a place in the universe. Satan had stolen away mankind and proclaimed himself ruler of this world. Jesus had to overcome Satan as a man to be our representative and intercede for us before the Father, and then be crowned as King of Kings. The prophecy said that the Messiah would sit on the throne of David and rule forever. This was a mission that only the captain of the Lord's host could do.
Right. Why don't we go to Jerusalem and visit David's tomb? We'll find more about it there. So guys, we are on Mount Zion, outside of the walls of Jerusalem. Upstairs, there's the upper room, and here below is what some believe to be the tomb of King David. It's all that remains of his rule over Israel.
You see, God promised David that his kingdom would last forever. But David died, and his descendants did too. His kingdom was conquered by other nations, like Babylon and Rome. And the temple, the city, and David's palace were completely destroyed. Everything seemed lost. But the Messiah was the only salvation for the kingdom because he was a descendant of David and captain of the Lord's host. As a sprout or a branch that comes up in a desert place, Jesus was the perfect heir for the throne. He was going to rule in righteousness after defeating evil forever. Sam, why don't we visit the ruins of the city of David in order to discover the next clues?
Sure, let's go. The ruins that you see here are from the city of Jerusalem at the time of David. And here's where David built his palace. But really, David didn't feel right living in such a beautiful home while the ark of the Lord was stored in a simple tent. He wanted to make a beautiful temple for God as well and make Jerusalem the religious and political capital of Israel.
David's plan was a good one, and God was very happy with it. But David was a man of war and had fought so many battles. God's house represented a place of peace. So God would not allow David to build the temple. Instead, God told David that he would have a son who would be named Solomon, which means peaceable, and he would be the one to build it.
So, was Solomon in that sense a symbol of the Messiah? I mean, since he was the one to build the temple of God?
Yes, David. At the time of King Solomon, the people enjoyed peace and the kingdom reached its greatest glory. One of the names of Jesus is Prince of Peace, just as the meaning of Solomon's name. Besides, the book of Zechariah says that he would build the spiritual temple.
So, in this way, the kingdom of David would never end, because Jesus will give his people the heavenly Jerusalem and the true and spiritual temple, right? Wow! Today, I've learned so much about why Jesus, the captain of the Lord, will sit on the throne of David as a king forever. Thanks, Anna and Sam. You've helped a lot. Hey everyone! Let's add these new clues to our mind map. And let's also get started with our project for this week. First, read Matthew chapter 1 verses 2 to 16. Then, make a list of all the names in the genealogy of Christ. Draw arrows between the names to show that each name is the child of the person named before it. When you are finished, check your work with Matthew chapter 1 verse 17. If you did your work correctly, you will see that there are 14 generations between Abraham and David. 14 generations between David and the time that Israel was taken to Babylon, and 14 generations from the time to the birth of Christ. Do you want to sit on the throne with Jesus? Then you must be like Jesus, a peacemaker. See you next time.